God's chosen one. 9 signs you are the most powerful among the chosen. Have you ever felt, even in a room full of people, that you were somehow different? That you were carrying a weight no one else could see? Have you ever looked up at the night sky and sensed, deep in your bones, that your life was never meant to be ordinary? Have you ever questioned why your path has been filled with so much pain, so much fire, so much loneliness, and wondered if it was because you were called to something greater? There's an ancient story whispered across the ages, a story not written in history books but etched into the fabric of the human soul. It is the story of the one set apart, those who do not quite belong to this world because they were born to change it. Maybe you have felt it too, that invisible pull, that unexplainable knowing that you were never meant to just survive, but to awaken something sleeping in the hearts of others. Maybe you have always walked a little differently, loved a little deeper, fought a little harder, and somehow, despite the storms that tried to break you, you're still here. Picture a lone traveler crossing a vast desert under a burning sky, every step carving a destiny no one else dared to walk. Imagine a child sitting by a window, looking at the stars, feeling a strange ache inside, a homesickness for a place they have never seen. Imagine Moses standing before a burning bush, trembling in the firelight, hearing a voice call him by name, not because he was powerful by earthly standards, but because heaven had written his name in the book of purpose long before he was ever born. What if your suffering was not a curse, but a forging? What if your loneliness was not abandonment, but preparation? What if every closed door, every broken dream, every battle that left you breathless was part of a sacred design to awaken the power within you that the world was never ready for? Today we are not here to talk about ordinary life. We are here to step into something deeper, to uncover the 9 sacred signs that reveal if you are one of God's most powerful chosen ones. These signs are not based on superstition, ego, or wishful thinking. They are ancient markers, fingerprints of divine assignment woven into your spirit long before you ever took your first breath. You were chosen, not because you were perfect, but because you were willing to endure, to grow, to awaken, to lead. If you've ever felt the weight of unseen battles, if you've ever known truths you could not explain, if you've ever been called stubborn by the world but faithful by your spirit, then you may already know. The signs have been inside you all along. You are not here by accident. You are not wandering without meaning. You have been called, prepared, and positioned for something the world desperately needs but cannot yet understand. As we move forward together through each sign, I invite you to lean in closely, to listen not just with your ears but with your spirit. Let these words not just inform you, but awaken you. This is your time to remember. Your story is already sacred. Your journey is already blessed. And today, perhaps for the first time, you will see clearly what heaven has known about you all along. Stay with me. The unveiling is about to begin. Sign 1. Overcoming extraordinary hardships. Imagine a young woman standing alone in a small hospital room, the walls closing in, her whole world collapsing in a single breath. Just days before, she had everything, a loving family, a future filled with bright dreams. But in a single cruel moment, a car accident took it all away. Grief became her shadow, despair her daily bread. Friends drifted away, unable to understand her hollow, silent grief. She questioned God. She questioned herself. How could a loving father allow such devastation? She was too broken to dream, too shattered to hope. And yet, somehow, she kept breathing. Somehow, the ember deep inside her refused to die. That woman's story is not isolated. It echoes the hidden history of every chosen soul. You see, the ones God chooses are not given soft roads lined with comfort and applause. No, they are sent into fire. They are tested, stripped, broken open. While others seem to glide through life untouched by true tragedy, the chosen are thrust into storms they never asked for. Why? Why would a loving God allow his chosen ones to endure deeper pain, greater losses, harsher betrayals than anyone around them? Unveiling. The answer is both brutal and beautiful. Pain is not punishment. It is preparation. When you are chosen, you are called to carry a weight most would collapse under. You are forged for a purpose so sacred, so heavy, that your soul must be tempered like steel. Ordinary living cannot produce extraordinary vessels. Only crushing pressure, only searing fire, only lonely wilderness seasons can shape the kind of heart that can hold the weight of divine assignment. The problem is never the pain itself. The problem is misunderstanding the pain. Many mistake their trials as signs they are cursed or forgotten, but nothing could be further from the truth. Your suffering is not random. It is surgical. It is precise. It is heaven's hand chiseling away what does not belong, so that the true masterpiece can emerge. Job 23:10 reminds us, "But he knows the way that I take. When he has tested me, I will come forth as gold." Gold, not ash, not rubble. Gold. When God calls you higher, he must refine you deeper. That is why your heartbreaks cut so sharply. That is why your betrayals felt like death. That is why the dreams you built were sometimes allowed to collapse right in front of you. Not because you were hated, because you were being purified. Each trial strips away another layer of pride, fear, doubt, and dependence on the world. Each loss pries your hands off idols you didn't even know you were clutching. Each heartbreak softens you until your heart beats in rhythm with heaven's own heart. What once crushed you begins to crown you. What once broke you begins to build you. It is a holy alchemy, a divine transformation that turns grief into compassion, pain into wisdom, scars into stories that heal nations. Consider the life of Joseph, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, wrongfully imprisoned. For 13 long years, it seemed like every dream God had given him was a cruel lie, and yet every betrayal, every injustice was positioning him, humbling him, preparing him to one day save not just his own family, but entire nations from famine. But if your pain has been doing the same, James 1:12 promises us, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." The crown is coming. The crown is always on the other side of the crushing. You are not being buried. You are being planted. You are not being abandoned. You are being anointed. Every sleepless night, every unanswered prayer, every tear that fell unnoticed by the world has been counted by God. And none of it is wasted. None of it is meaningless. Each drop of pain is watering seeds of destiny inside you. You are walking the same sacred path that giants of faith once walked. Moses, who was exiled before he became a deliverer. David, who was hunted before he became a king. Esther, who faced death before she saved her people. Even Jesus, who was rejected, betrayed, and crucified before he rose in power. Their glory came not despite their trials, but because of them. Now it is your turn. So, I ask you now, not with judgment, but with deep reverence, what pain has shaped you? What storms have baptized you? What losses have carved new depths inside your soul? When you look back, can you see it? Can you see how the crushing did not end you? Every scar you carry is sacred. Every tear you shed was caught by unseen hands. And every battle you thought would destroy you has actually forged within you an unbreakable spirit. You, chosen one, were never called to live an ordinary life. You were called to embody resilience, to carry hope into barren places, to walk through fire and come out carrying flames that will ignite the souls of others. You have already overcome what would have crushed others. You are already standing on ground most would have never survived. This is not the end. It is only the beginning. And if you still feel the pain burning in your chest, if you still bear the weight of grief, know this: the gold is being revealed, the crown is being fashioned, heaven is not finished with you yet. You are one of God's most powerful chosen ones. Stay with me. There are more signs awakening inside you, and your story is just getting started. Sign 2. Receiving profound spiritual insights. Have you ever had a moment when something inside you screamed, "Turn back," and because you listened, you escaped disaster by mere seconds? Or maybe you once stood on the edge of a huge decision, torn between fear and hope, when a sudden clarity, unexplainable by logic, flooded your mind and guided your next step, a step that changed everything forever. It wasn't coincidence, it wasn't luck, it wasn't random. It was divine intervention whispered through your soul. There was a man who once shared how, late one night, he planned to take a certain route home. But as he reached the crossroads, an overwhelming urge, sharp, clear, undeniable, told him to turn the other way. He hesitated, confused. But something deeper than thought insisted. Moments later, he learned that a deadly accident had just occurred on the very road he almost took. His life was spared, not by chance but by the voice within. Stories like these are not accidents. They are fingerprints of the divine. Yet, why is it that among millions only a few seem to hear? Why are some hearts tuned to a higher frequency, catching whispers that others dismiss as imagination or paranoia? It is because being chosen means being awakened to a different realm of communication. This world is noisy. It shouts with fear, with doubt, with endless distraction. Most people are so entangled in the static that they cannot hear the sacred signals being sent from heaven itself. But the chosen ones, the true vessels, have been gifted with spiritual ears that pierce through the noise. And yet, this gift is not always easy to carry. At first, it feels strange, lonely. You notice things others don't. You sense danger without evidence. You feel shifts in people's intentions. You know truths you haven't been taught. And because of that, you are often misunderstood, even ridiculed. But the truth is, this heightened intuition, this holy insight, it is not madness. It is a mark of intimacy with the divine. John 14:26 gives us this stunning promise. But the Helper, the Holy Spirit, whom the Father will send in my name, he will teach you all things and bring to your remembrance all that I said to you. Yes, it is the Holy Spirit himself who places these flashes of insight into your spirit. You are not imagining things. You are receiving instructions. The Holy Spirit speaks in many ways. Through sudden ideas, through gut feelings, through dreams, visions, and even through the breathtaking stillness of a single moment. And the more you honor these whispers, the louder and clearer they become. Learning to trust them is a journey all chosen ones must walk. At first, you will doubt. You will wonder if you are simply being foolish, if you are reaching for meaning where there is none. You may even ignore the signs, only to regret it later, realizing that small inner nudge was trying to save you from pain. But slowly, painfully, gloriously, you learn. You begin to recognize the subtle ways the divine speaks. You notice the pattern. Every time you listened to that sacred prompting, favor followed. Every time you ignored it, consequences came. You learn that true wisdom often does not scream. It whispers. You train yourself to listen, even when it doesn't make sense to the world around you. In time, your trust in this divine guidance deepens. You no longer need endless confirmation. You no longer apologize for your discernment. You act when you know it's right. You move when the Spirit says move. You stay when the Spirit says stay. And the results are miraculous. Doors open without force. Relationships align without manipulation. Protection surrounds you even when you don't see the danger. Opportunities that align with your soul come effortlessly. Because you are no longer living by sight alone, you are living by spirit. There is an old truth that says, those who walk closely with God walk differently than the world. You are now part of that ancient lineage, moving, breathing, and living according to a different compass, a sacred one, calibrated not to the shifting winds of culture, but to the eternal rhythm of heaven. And yes, it may sometimes feel lonely. You may find that fewer people understand your choices. Some will call you reckless, others delusional. They will not see the secret counsel you have received. They will not hear the quiet commands that guide your steps. But you will know. You will feel the peace that surpasses understanding. You will witness the miracles that follow obedience. You will walk paths that seem impossible, and yet find them paved by unseen hands. This is the power of receiving profound spiritual insights. It is a power that does not boast, but transforms. It is not meant to make you proud, but to make you powerful, in love, in wisdom, in truth. So now, beloved one, let me ask you, as you sit quietly with these words pressing against your soul, do you still doubt the voice inside you? Or have you begun to recognize it for what it truly is, the sacred whisper of the Holy Spirit, calling you, guiding you, protecting you, preparing you for a destiny greater than you can imagine? The next sign is waiting. Stay close. The journey is only just beginning. Sign 3. Mastery over spiritual and energetic boundaries. Have you ever stood at a crossroads where saying yes would have been easy, but something deeper inside you said no? Have you ever felt the weight of a friendship, a relationship, or an environment that once comforted you slowly begin to suffocate your spirit, until staying felt more dangerous than walking away? There was a woman who once sat quietly at the back of a crowded cafe, tears burning in her eyes. Across from her sat someone she had loved for years, a friend who once lifted her up, but who now only drained, belittled, and diminished her light. As the laughter buzzed around them, she heard a single sacred whisper within: "Leave." It wasn't anger, it wasn't fear, it was clarity. That day, she chose herself. She chose her peace. She chose her purpose over her past, and though her heart broke with the finality of it, her spirit soared with a freedom she hadn't tasted in years. Why must the chosen ones, those called to carry extraordinary light, often face the painful necessity of severing ties with what once felt safe? Because your energy is not ordinary, it is sacred. When God marks you, your spirit becomes a vessel of something too precious to be contaminated by chaos, toxicity, or spiritual decay. Every interaction, every conversation, every atmosphere has the power to either nourish your calling or corrode it. And for the chosen, this is not a minor inconvenience. It is a life or death matter for your destiny. At first you may not realize the danger. You may try to compromise, to shrink yourself, to fit into spaces your soul has outgrown. You may tell yourself that loyalty demands endurance, even at the cost of your spirit. You may silence the small voice inside warning you to protect your peace. But over time the cost becomes unbearable. You feel the drain after every conversation. You sense the heaviness after every encounter. You notice that your dreams become foggy, your intuition grows dull, your hope dims, and you realize this is not love. This is not loyalty. This is spiritual erosion. And then comes the moment of awakening, the sacred realization that you must protect your energy, even if it means standing alone. This is not pride. It is obedience to your higher calling. Proverbs 4:23 commands us with startling clarity, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." The heart is not merely the seat of emotion, it is the wellspring of purpose. When the heart is polluted, the mission is compromised, and so, chosen one, you learn, often through pain, to set holy boundaries. You learn that no is not a curse word, it is a sacred protection. You learn that distance is not hatred, it is health. You learn that walking away is not weakness, it is wisdom. At first, the journey feels lonely. You mourn the connections you must release. You ache for the conversations that no longer happen. You grieve the parts of yourself that once found comfort in familiar dysfunction. There are nights when the silence feels like a punishment, when you wonder if you've made a terrible mistake. But slowly, something miraculous begins to happen. The silence becomes sanctuary. The solitude becomes strength. You no longer fill your time with noise. You fill it with purpose. You no longer say yes to validation, you say yes to destiny. You stop scattering your energy in 1,000 directions, and instead you gather it, focus it, and aim it like a divine arrow toward your calling. The world may not understand. Friends may fall away. Opportunities may close. But your spirit will flourish, and you will realize something profound. Being alone is not the same as being abandoned. You are never truly alone when you are walking hand in hand with the one who called you. You will begin to attract different kinds of connections, ones built not on trauma bonding, but on spiritual alignment. You will find yourself surrounded not by those who demand from you, but by those who inspire and sharpen you. You will walk in rooms and feel your peace expand rather than shrink, because you have chosen sacred boundaries, because you have chosen yourself, because you have chosen the God who chose you first. So now, beloved one, I ask you to reflect deeply. What toxic attachments have you been called to release? What boundaries have you been too afraid to draw? And most of all, what would your life look like if you trusted the whisper that says, "Protect your light at all costs"? Remember, the enemy of your soul does not always come in the form of obvious evil. Sometimes it comes cloaked in comfort, in familiarity, in the things that once served you but no longer fit who you are becoming. The question is not whether you love those people, places, and things. The question is whether you love your calling more. In choosing to guard your spirit fiercely, you are not rejecting others. You are respecting the divine destiny planted inside you. You are honoring the sacredness of your own soul. You are living as one who understands the weight of being chosen. So, I leave you now with a gentle but powerful invitation. What boundary do you need to create today to honor who you are becoming? The next chapter of your journey demands a new level of protection, a new level of discernment, and a new level of holy courage. And you, chosen one, you are more than ready. Sign 4. Thriving and deepening in solitude. Have you ever woken up one morning to find the world around you changed? Friends more distant, familiar places empty, the life you once knew feeling like a dream that has slipped through your fingers. There was once a man who stood at the edge of a vast forest, abandoned by those he once called family, betrayed, forgotten, misunderstood. In the crushing loneliness of that moment, he thought he had lost everything. The voices of the past haunted him, telling him he was nothing without the crowd, that without applause, approval, or companionship, he would surely wither and disappear. But in the stillness of that sacred isolation, something extraordinary happened. The silence began to sing. The wind carried messages only his spirit could hear. The trees whispered ancient truths. The absence of noise made room for a presence. Vast, overwhelming, holy. It was there, in the wilderness of isolation, that he found the God who had never once left him, and it was there that he found himself. Why does it seem that those truly chosen by God are often separated from the crowd, marked by a deep and sometimes painful solitude? Because transformation requires a holy distance. When you are called to carry a light that can alter the course of nations, you cannot be molded by the clamor of the crowd. You cannot find your true identity in the mirrors of public opinion. You must be shaped in the hidden places, where the noise of the world fades, and the only voice left to guide you is the voice of God. The crowd will always pull you toward comfort, conformity, distraction, but solitude pulls you deeper, into your calling, into your anointing, into your true self. It is in isolation that you are stripped of everything superficial and taught to stand not on applause, but on divine approval. Psalm 91:1 captures this sacred truth beautifully. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. Solitude is not a punishment, it is a shelter. It is the secret place where the Most High meets with the ones He has set apart. At first, you may mourn what you lose, the parties you no longer attend, the conversations you no longer find satisfying, the friendships that dissolve without warning. You may grieve the loneliness, aching for connection, questioning why you no longer fit where you once belonged. But slowly, something breathtaking unfolds. You begin to hear in ways you never heard before. You begin to see through layers of reality invisible to the ordinary eye. The presence of God grows thick around you, like a cloud wrapping your soul in holy light. Your spirit starts to breathe, free from the suffocation of worldly noise. You realize that your loneliness was never meant to crush you, it was meant to crown you. You were never being rejected by life, you were being redirected by God. The old life had to fall away so that a deeper, richer, infinitely more meaningful life could rise in its place. From sadness, you move into sacred connection. From isolation, you bloom into spiritual prosperity. In the absence of human company, you discover a fellowship with the divine that no human relationship could ever rival. You find that you are not lonely, you are enveloped. You are not abandoned, you are being refined. You are not lost, you are being led. Throughout history, every mighty soul who was chosen for greatness walked this same sacred path. Moses withdrew to the wilderness before leading a nation. David tended sheep in obscurity before becoming king. Even Jesus himself withdrew to lonely places to pray, to fast, to fortify his spirit for the mission ahead. Your solitude is not random. It is preparation, it is consecration, it is transformation. And if you embrace it, if you let it do its holy work inside of you, you will emerge from it not broken, but unbreakable, not hollow, but overflowing, not diminished, but divinely dangerous to the forces of darkness. So now, beloved, I ask you a question that only your heart can answer. Have you heard the voice of God in the silence yet? Have you let the stillness speak louder than the screams of fear? Have you surrendered to the sacred shaping happening when no one else is watching? The secret hidden seasons of your life are not wasted. They are the proving grounds of your soul. They are the birthplace of your greatest anointing. They are where the oil of your destiny is pressed and poured. Do not despise the seasons when you feel unseen. Heaven sees you. Heaven is shaping you. Heaven is preparing to unveil you in a glory that would never survive the noise of premature exposure. Every tear you have shed in private, every prayer you have whispered into empty rooms, every longing for connection you have surrendered to God's hands, it is not forgotten. It is not wasted. It is seed being sown in holy ground, and in due time it will bloom in a harvest of blessing, of purpose, of impact you cannot yet imagine. Until then, Rest in the secret place. Meet God in the solitude. Let the silence sanctify you, because soon, very soon, the world will hear the sound of a soul that has been shaped by the hand of the Almighty in the wilderness of hiddenness. And when you step forward from your solitude, carrying a light fierce enough to set hearts ablaze, the world will know this one has been with God. Sign 5. A deep sense of mission and purpose. Have you ever felt like you never quite fit in, even as a child? While other kids laughed and played, carefree under the sun, maybe you stood apart, not because you were forced to, but because something inside you whispered, there is more. Maybe you remember staring at the stars, your tiny heart bursting with questions too big for your age. Maybe you carried a sadness that others couldn't see, a knowing that life was deeper, heavier, more meaningful than the games and noise around you. From the very beginning, you were different. And not by accident. There was a sacred blueprint etched into your soul before you ever drew your first breath, a divine design that marked you for something more. Jeremiah 1:5 speaks directly to this eternal truth. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. I appointed you as a prophet to the nations. Chosen ones cannot live an ordinary life because an extraordinary destiny beats within them like a second heart. But here lies the first great pain of the chosen. You were never meant to settle for survival, but the world around you constantly pushed you to fit into boxes too small for your spirit. You tried to blend in. You tried to silence the dreams. You tried to conform, to shrink, to forget. But the pull inside you, that holy unrest, would not be ignored. Why? Because mediocrity suffocates the soul marked by greatness. You cannot thrive where you were never meant to stay. You cannot breathe the stale air of small dreams when the breath of God is roaring inside your chest. The chosen ones often wrestle for years against this truth. They fight to stay small because standing tall feels dangerous. They bury their gifts because using them feels lonely. They ignore their intuition because obeying it feels radical. But there comes a day, and maybe, beloved, that day is today, when the voice inside grows too loud to dismiss, when the fire inside becomes too fierce to contain, when the yearning to live your calling eclipses the fear of stepping out. This is the moment of awakening. This is the hour when destiny refuses to wait any longer. And here is the sacred revelation. Your yearning is not random. It is the compass pointing you back to the divine assignment you agreed to before you ever touched this earth. The world will not always understand it. People will call you stubborn, restless, unrealistic. They will try to tame your dreams, domesticate your wild vision. But remember this: those who are called to change the world are never understood by the ones content with the world as it is. You were not born to fit in. You were born to forge new paths. You were born to create, to heal, to lead, to build, to awaken. And every part of your life, the joys, the betrayals, the delays, the detours, has been shaping you for this sacred task. It is when you finally surrender, when you finally say, "Yes, God, I will go," that everything shifts. Doors that were once closed begin to open. Strength you didn't know you had begins to flood your spirit. Opportunities you never dreamed of begin to appear. The blueprint within you activates. The light hidden inside you explodes outward, touching lives, altering destinies, leaving ripples across time and space. You don't just live, you become alive. Because purpose ignites parts of you that comfort and conformity can never reach. And though the path is not easy, though the cost is sometimes staggering, you walk it with a peace that surpasses all understanding. Because you finally know, this is why I am here. This is why the pain never made sense until now. This is why the fire inside never went out, no matter how hard you tried to smother it. So now, beloved, I leave you with a question that only you can answer. What inside of you refuses to stay silent, no matter how hard you try to ignore it? What calling keeps returning, whispering through your dreams, rising through your fears, waiting patiently for your surrender? Because that, dear soul, is the evidence of your divine mission, and the world is waiting desperately for you to rise into it. Sign 6. Experiencing vivid prophetic dreams or visions. Have you ever woken up from a dream so powerful, so vivid, that it left your heart pounding, your soul trembling, and your mind questioning whether you had just touched the edge of heaven itself? There is a story, a true one, of a woman who, standing at the crossroads of her life, had a dream so vivid it changed everything. In the dream, she saw a crumbling bridge, a sign that seemed to scream danger, and a voice, gentle yet firm, telling her not to go forward. The next morning, she cancelled her trip, despite protests from friends. That afternoon, the bridge she would have crossed collapsed into ruin. Her dream had saved her life. For the chosen ones, dreams are never just dreams. They are sacred dialogues, messages written in the language of eternity, delivered not to the mind but to the soul. Yet so often, in a world addicted to logic and visible proof, the chosen doubt these signs at first. Why do the chosen ones experience such unusual dreams? Dreams so vivid, so detailed, so rich with symbols that they seem more real than waking life? It is because you are wired differently. Your spirit is tuned to a higher frequency. God has chosen you to be a receiver of His mysteries. Joel 2:28 foretells this beautifully. And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams. Your young men shall see vision. The world may call it strange. Psychologists may label it imagination. But your soul knows. These dreams are not accidents. They are dispatches from the divine. They are maps from heaven, guiding your earthly steps. They are sacred compasses, crafted to help you navigate a world that often seems to spin in chaos and confusion. But how many times have you awakened with a dream etched on your heart, only to dismiss it as just a dream? How many times have you felt the echoes of a vision calling you forward, but let doubt muffle the voice? The journey of the chosen is learning to trust, to stop labeling these experiences as coincidence and start recognizing them as covenant. At first, it is unsettling. It feels easier, safer to ignore the visions, to stay anchored to what can be seen and touched. But slowly, quietly, the realization grows. Your dreams are gifts. Your visions are a form of holy communication. They are not interruptions. They are invitations. They are evidence that heaven has not forgotten you, that you are being personally guided, even while you sleep. When you start to honor your dreams, when you treat them like sacred letters from the King, everything begins to shift. You move from fear into gratitude, from doubt into trust, from confusion into profound clarity. Each dream becomes a breadcrumb on your path, leading you closer to your purpose. Each vision becomes a lantern in the dark places of your journey, revealing the next step. Even when the road ahead looks impossible, you are no longer wandering, you are being led. You are no longer guessing, you are being shown. And so, I must ask you now, have you begun to write down your dreams? Have you taken seriously the symbols, the stories, the sacred flashes that come to you in the night? Because hidden within those dreams may be the blueprints for your future, the answers to your prayers, the whispers of the destiny you were born to fulfill. Remember, dear soul, God speaks in many ways. Sometimes through scripture, sometimes through the voices of wise friends, and sometimes, when the world sleeps, through dreams. You, the chosen one, have been entrusted with this sacred dialogue. Guard it, honor it, treasure it. Because the dreams of the chosen are never ordinary. They are the seeds of miracles. They are the beginning of movements, and they are the signature of heaven upon your life. Sign 7. Possessing the power to change others' minds and emotions. There once was a man standing at the edge of surrender. His life was shattered, hope drained from his eyes, his spirit a flickering ember. But then, a stranger walked into his world. No sermons, no grand gestures, just a simple conversation. A sentence spoken with such clarity, such quiet authority, that it cracked the shell of despair surrounding him. From that moment, everything shifted. He found strength again. He began to rebuild. And he often said later, "It wasn't what they said exactly. It was the way it lit something inside me that had long gone dark." The chosen ones carry a power that is both mysterious and undeniable. But why? Why do some people, without even trying, seem to breathe life back into the broken-hearted? Why does your simple presence sometimes change the entire energy of a room without a single word? The answer is as old as creation itself. It's because the chosen are vessels, not of their own might, but of divine resonance. Your soul hums at a frequency that awakens something ancient inside others. Their buried dreams, their forgotten hope, their lost courage. You don't command attention by force. You awaken hearts by design, but here lies the hidden burden. Most chosen ones don't even realize the full extent of their influence at first. You may think, "I was just being myself," yet your very being carries a charge, a sacred transmission. Without even knowing it, you shift perspectives, heal old wounds, spark silent revolutions within the souls of those around you. You see, you weren't just given light, you were sculpted to be light. Jesus said it plainly in Matthew 5:14-16, "You are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on its stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house." The chosen ones don't shine because they want to be seen. They shine because they cannot not shine. It is their nature. It is their assignment. And yet the journey of the chosen is also a journey of awakening to this responsibility. In the beginning, you may have noticed the way people confided in you instantly, or how your advice, given casually, seemed to change someone's entire life path. You may have shrugged it off, but now you are being called to consciousness, to recognize that your words are seeds, your presence is medicine, your choices are sermons without a pulpit. As you awaken to this truth, you stop living carelessly. You begin to move through the world with holy intention. You speak with awareness. You love with precision. You offer your strength carefully, knowing that you are touching eternal things. This is the transformation. From unconscious influence to sacred stewardship. From accidental light to deliberate illumination. From being a blessing by chance to being a blessing by calling. The world desperately needs the light you carry. The world needs healers, restorers, igniters of dormant purpose. You, chosen one, are one of them. But light is not arrogant. It does not scream for attention. It simply shines. And by shining, it reveals, it heals, it awakens. So now I must ask you, have you used your light to save someone yet? Have you been brave enough to speak when someone's spirit was crumbling? Have you been willing to stand firm, to offer hope when the darkness whispered surrender? Because every day you live in awareness of your divine power, you are participating in the greatest rescue mission ever written. You are helping to awaken the sleeping warriors, the hidden kings and queens, the broken-hearted dreamers who forgot who they were. You are a lighthouse. You are a city set on a hill, and no amount of darkness will ever overcome the light you carry, not because you are flawless, but because you are chosen, because heaven has entrusted you with a fire that cannot be extinguished, because your soul was anointed to change the atmosphere wherever you walk. So walk boldly, beloved soul, shine without apology, heal without fear, speak with the authority of one who knows they are sent. You are not here by accident. You are not loving by chance. You are a living bridge between the seen and the unseen, a holy ambassador, a bearer of light in a weary world. Sign 8. Constantly encountering divine synchronicities. Have you ever experienced a moment so surreal, so perfectly timed, that it felt like the invisible hand of heaven itself reached into your life and rearranged the pieces? A young woman once stood at a crossroads, her heart heavy with despair, ready to give up on her dreams. She prayed a silent prayer, a final plea into the night. Minutes later, as she wandered aimlessly through a quiet street, she stumbled upon a crumpled flyer stuck to a lamppost. It advertised an opportunity, one that matched her deepest calling exactly, something she had never even thought possible. That one moment, that tiny divine interruption, changed the entire course of her life. Coincidence? No. Chosen one. Nothing about your path has been accidental. Why do the chosen constantly seem to stumble upon perfect signs, whispered hints, and mysterious alignments, when others walk blind through chaos? Because your steps are being ordered. Because the hand of God is not just upon you. It is ahead of you, behind you, surrounding you. Yet here's the heart of the struggle. At first, many chosen ones don't recognize these moments for what they are. You may wonder, is this real? Am I reading too much into this? You second guess, you hesitate. Because the world teaches you that only what you can see, touch, and rationalize is real. But the chosen walk by a different law. The chosen are led by whispers, by signs, by sacred intersections that the mind cannot explain but the spirit instantly recognizes. When you are chosen, synchronicities are not random. They are road signs from heaven. They are markers along the path, confirming you are on the right road, even when the journey feels strange and lonely. They are divine echoes that tell you, keep walking. You are not alone. Psalm 37:23 promises, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delights in his way." Ordered. Delighted. Do you realize how powerful those words are? It means every encounter, every seeming chance meeting, every repeated number, every perfectly timed message is heaven whispering, "This way, beloved." It is not fantasy. It is not wishful thinking. It is the Creator speaking in a language only your soul can fully understand. But true transformation begins when you move beyond noticing synchronicities and begin trusting them. At first, the signs may feel small, a repeated number on a clock, a stranger mentioning a word you just prayed about, an unexpected opportunity that seems tailor-made for your hidden dreams. You may smile, shrug, and move on. But as you mature spiritually, you begin to realize these are not coincidences. They are confirmations, and the more you listen, the more you act on the signs, the louder they become. You are shifting from skepticism to sacred trust. You are learning that heaven doesn't just command with thundering voices from mountains. It guides with gentle nudges, tender whispers, and miraculous alignments woven quietly into your everyday life. Zoo. And when you trust, you move in a different rhythm than the rest of the world. You stop striving and start flowing. You stop demanding proof and start discerning presence. You stop living in fear and start living in faith. Your life becomes a dance with the divine, one breathtaking, grace-filled step at a time. Can you feel it? That sacred shift from control to trust? That thrilling terror of surrendering to a process you cannot predict, but your spirit already knows? Think of all the synchronicities that led you here, to this moment. Think of all the whispers that refused to be silenced until you listened. They were never random. They were always destiny. You are being guided not by logic alone, but by divine orchestration. And once you embrace it, your world will never be the same. You will begin to recognize that the entire universe is conspiring to align with the blueprint heaven wrote into your bones before you were even born. You will notice the signs more clearly. You will trust them more deeply. You will move with the boldness of someone who knows they are not lost. They are led. So now, let me ask you, have you recently noticed a synchronicity that tried to guide you? Was there a repeated message, an unexpected encounter, a sudden open door that spoke directly to your hidden prayers? What if that wasn't coincidence at all? What if it was confirmation? What if heaven is shouting where the world only whispers? Chosen one, your life is not random. Your path is not meaningless. You are being called, led and loved in ways far deeper than you know. Pay attention. The signs are everywhere. They are not trying to confuse you. They are trying to awaken you. Follow the divine breadcrumbs with courage. Walk through the doors heaven cracks open, and know that with every sacred coincidence, every divine interruption, every miraculous alignment, you are stepping closer to the destiny God has prepared for you since before time began. You are not walking blindly. You are being carried. Trust the signs. Trust the sender. Trust the journey. Because you, beloved, were never meant to be ordinary. You were meant to live guided. You were meant to live chosen. Seeing 9. A deep, continuous connection with God. It often begins in the quiet, unnoticed moments, the hush before dawn, when the world is still sleeping. There, in the fragile silence, a young man knelt by his bedside, not out of habit, but out of a deep hunger he could no longer deny. His voice trembled with the weight of unspoken fears, but in the stillness, something extraordinary happened. He didn't hear words booming from the clouds. No, it was subtler, deeper, a knowing presence wrapped around him like a sacred cloak. In that moment, he knew without doubt he was not alone. He was heard. He was held. Have you ever felt that? That profound certainty that you were standing on holy ground, even though nothing around you seemed to change? Why do the chosen seem to touch heaven more easily, to sense the divine not only in churches or sacred spaces, but even in the mundane corners of life? It's because you were never meant to walk this world blind. You were designed with an inner compass, a spiritual antenna tuned to heaven's frequency. While many drift through life deaf to the whisper of the divine, the chosen ones feel it vibrating in their bones. Their souls ache for it. Their spirits recognize it, even when their minds cannot explain it. But let's be honest, sensing God's presence isn't always simple. In a world drowning in noise, distraction, and doubt, feeling connected to the divine can seem like chasing the wind. You question yourself, am I just imagining this? Is this real? Fear creeps in, doubt gnaws at your edges. You wonder if the sacred moments were just coincidence, just emotional tricks of the mind. But the truth is simpler and far more powerful. Your connection is real. It's not imagination, it's invitation. It's a daily offering from God Himself, an invitation into unbroken communion. You are not meant to occasionally visit God like a guest. You are meant to abide in Him as your permanent dwelling place. John 15:5 captures this breathtaking reality. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing. Abiding is not striving, abiding is surrendering. Abiding is breathing God's presence in and out until it becomes as natural to you as the beat of your own heart. Imagine it, waking each day not alone, but hand in hand with the Creator of the universe, hearing His gentle counsel in your spirit before your feet even touch the floor, sensing His nearness not just during prayer, but in the laughter of children, the rustle of trees, the quiet strength you didn't know you possessed. This connection is your superpower. This connection is your secret weapon. And as you deepen it, everything in your life transforms. Fear shrinks, doubt dissolves, loneliness fades. In its place rises unshakable peace, courageous clarity, and a radiant joy that no circumstance can steal. You stop living for applause. You stop living for validation. You start living for the smile of God. You start living led by love Himself. But how does this transformation truly happen? It begins by choosing presence over performance. It happens when you trade busyness for intimacy. It happens when you dare to believe that you don't have to earn God's nearness. You simply have to embrace it. You start by carving out sacred moments, not because you should, but because your soul craves it. You linger longer in prayer. You open the scriptures not for obligation, but for oxygen. You speak to God, not with formalities, but with the raw honesty of a child speaking to their father. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, something shifts. The God you once searched for in desperation becomes the God you now recognize everywhere. In the sunrise, in a stranger's smile, even in your own reflection. You realize that He was never distant. You were never abandoned. You were always carried, always cradled, always beloved, and your heart learns to rest, to truly, finally rest. It's in this place of sacred connection that your greatest calling is revealed. You no longer move from fear, but from fullness. You no longer speak from insecurity, but from intimacy. You no longer live for survival, but for sacred impact. You become a living testament to the truth that communion with God isn't a prize for the perfect, it's a promise for the chosen. You begin to embody what the world desperately longs for but cannot find: true peace, true wisdom, true love. And the people around you notice. They may not have the words for it, but they feel it when you walk into the room. They feel heaven whisper through your life. You, beloved soul, are a bridge between the seen and the unseen. You are a dwelling place for the divine. You are a walking, breathing sanctuary. But here's the question you must ask yourself today. Are you nurturing this sacred connection daily? Are you feeding your soul with the Word? Are you carving out silence to hear the whisper of God? Are you making space not just for miracles, but for the miracle maker Himself? Because this connection, this daily abiding, is not a luxury. It is your lifeline. It is your fuel. It is your highest calling. So, my beloved chosen one, return daily to the sacred place. Water the roots of your soul. Abide in the vine. And watch as your life bears fruit that not even death can destroy. The world is waiting. God is whispering, and your spirit is ready. Will you answer? The great awakening, your destiny unfolds. Now, hear this truth echo in the chambers of your soul. You are not here by accident. You are not just a wandering soul drifting through the tides of life. No, you are a chosen one, handpicked by the divine, woven into a story far greater than your mind can yet comprehend. You are not simply surviving. You are a living thread in heaven's masterwork. Can you feel it stirring within you? The sacred pull, the trembling fire waking up in your bones? This is no longer a dream deferred. This is destiny realized. This is the holy moment when your spirit stands tall and remembers who you truly are. You were never meant to shrink, to doubt, to hide. You were meant to rise. You were meant to illuminate. You were meant to transform every space your feet touch. The signs you have seen, the whispers you have heard, the battles you have endured, they were all preparing you for this very moment. You are not waiting for a call, you are the call. You are not waiting for a sign, you are the sign. Heaven has already commissioned you. The world is groaning, yearning, aching for the emergence of the sons and daughters of light. So now, dear soul, stand up, step out of fear, step into faith. Stop doubting the fire inside of you. Stop waiting for permission. You have already been anointed by the Most High to carry His glory wherever you go. The time is now. The light is in you. The world needs what only you can give. And here is the eternal promise, written into the fabric of your being. If you walk forward in faith, mountains will move. If you answer the call, generations will be changed. If you step into your destiny, the heavens will rejoice and the earth will never be the same. You are not just chosen, you are destined to change history. The journey has already begun. Now will you rise? The final blessing, awakening the greatness within you. As we reach the sacred close of this journey, let us pause and breathe in the magnitude of what has been revealed. You have walked with me through the sacred signs, each one a whisper from eternity, each one a confirmation stamped upon your soul. You have recognized the fire you carried when you survived extraordinary hardships that would have broken others. You have seen the divine light flicker through your sudden insights and unexplainable wisdom. You have learned to protect your spirit fiercely, setting boundaries. You have found beauty in your solitude where others found fear, and there you discovered the secret conversations between your soul and the divine. You have felt the pulse of a great mission beating inside. You have dreamed dreams that were more than imagination. They were glimpses of heaven's own plans whispered in the night. You have witnessed the mysterious power within you, the ability to change a life, a heart, a destiny, with nothing but your light. You have noticed the synchronicities, the divine signs, woven through your life like a trail of golden breadcrumbs leading you home. And above all, you have touched, tasted, and known the presence of God, not as a distant idea, but as a living, breathing, everlasting relationship within you. Every hardship you endured, every tear you shed in silence, every night you thought you would break apart, was not punishment, it was preparation. Every moment of loneliness you mistook for abandonment was in fact a sacred appointment for transformation. You, beloved soul, have not been forgotten. You have been forged. You have been purified. You have been anointed for something far greater than the world has ever dared to tell you. And now, the heavens smile because you are awakening. You are no longer blind to your brilliance. You are no longer deaf to your destiny. You are stepping into the truth of who you are, a living vessel of hope, a sacred flame against the darkness, a chosen one who was created to rise when others fall, to shine when others hide. Today, I bless you, dear soul. May you walk forward not in fear but in faith. May you hold your head high even when storms rage against you. May your heart remain tender even when the world feels cold. May your spirit stay bold even when the path looks narrow. May you remember every day that you are a miracle in motion, a masterpiece still unfolding. I pray that divine wisdom will saturate your every decision, that divine favor will surround you like an invisible shield, that divine love will fill you so completely that you overflow. I pray that no voice of doubt, no whisper of fear, No shadow of shame will ever again dim the holy fire within you. You were born to transform not just yourself, but to be a catalyst for others. You were born to carry the breath of heaven into broken places. You were born to walk in power, in love, in radiant freedom. And today, if your spirit recognizes this truth, if you feel even a flicker of this calling stirring inside you, I invite you to make a declaration. In the comments below, simply write 777, not because it is trendy, but because it is a covenant, a spiritual seal, a holy yes to the mission that has been calling your soul since before your first heartbeat. 777 is the number of divine completion, spiritual awakening, and perfect alignment with God's plan. When you type it, you are not just leaving a comment. You are proclaiming to the universe, to heaven and to yourself, I know who I am, I know what I carry, and I choose to rise. Take this moment, beloved soul, seal it with your heart, declare it with your spirit. You are not alone, you are not forgotten, you are not lost. You are seen, you are chosen, you are dearly, eternally loved. Now, go forth with courage, shine without apology, love without fear, speak without hesitation, and live every single day as the powerful, radiant, unstoppable force you were created to be. The world is waiting for your light. Heaven is walking with you, and the greatest chapters of your story are only just beginning.